The film begins in Russia, where a family of 3 sits by the river, enjoying their time. The youngest of them, Sergei Aleshkov, is bragging to his older brother and mother that he is on top of a tree. When suddenly, German fighter jets fly overhead. The mother asks her children to quickly hide in the bushes, but the 6-year-old boy claims he is not afraid and hits the plane with a slingshot. To everyone's surprise, he manages to hit the jets, causing them to explode. But when he looks around, his family is gone. Sergei wakes up scared from the dream and calls his mother. At that moment, someone knocks on his door. Assuming it's her mother, she runs to him, but a neighbor panics. She thanks God for keeping him alive and informs him that her mother and brother are dead. The boy cannot understand what she is saying and wants to stay at home to wait for his mother. The woman tells him that the Germans have attacked them and that he must flee. At that moment, some soldiers approach his house. The woman makes Sergei run out of the window but is shot dead before she can join him. The 6-year-old is now alone, without family and friends. As Sergei runs from the house, he sees his entire neighborhood burn behind him. He calls his mother in vain and runs away from there. After running for a while, he ends up in the middle of the forest. The boy begins to call his mother to come to look for him because he is lost. That night, he stays in the jungle. The next morning, we see him drink water from a river when enemy soldiers are coming his way. Sergei, knowing that they are dangerous, quickly hides inside the roots of a tree. He is startled when a snake approaches but does not utter a word or run away. Sergei is more afraid of the soldiers than the snake. The soldiers eat by the river and leave, after which Sergei takes his leftover food and devours it at night. However, at the end of the day, the boy is exhausted. He hasn't eaten well in 2 days. And has been walking aimlessly. He falls while limping, but does not stop walking. While on his way, he sees wild berries and devours them, but at that moment, an explosion goes off behind him, taking him by surprise. The boy gets dizzy and begins to hallucinate someone coming after him. However, even in such conditions, he remains brave and tells the person that he has a rifle. And is not afraid. He limps forward but falls unconscious after a while. As he sleeps, 2 soldiers approach him. The scene cuts to the Russian army base where Commander Kuznetsov awaits his soldiers on patrol. They enter with the little boy who is injured and weak. When the soldiers affirm that they are on his side, the boy opens up and introduces himself. The soldiers laugh as the boy shakes hands with the commander, suggesting that he introduce himself as well. The soldiers feel affection towards the little boy and surround him. They make him drink water and feed him. Even the otherwise cold commander takes care of the boy. A nurse named Katya dresses Sergei's wounds and is also delighted with his personality. The boy asks him to draw a tank over his wounds because he wants to be a soldier when he grows up. Even the wounded soldiers talk to the boy and feel lighter. Sergei is fascinated with the commander's gun and his lot. The commander also answers all of the boy's questions and lets him play with his honor gun after taking out the bullets. Sergei shows him the tank drawn on his stomach and boasts about being a soldier. The boy is healing very quickly. Nurse Katya asks the commander to let the boy stay with the battalion, but he disagrees, claiming that it will not be safe. He wants to send Sergei to an orphanage. The soldiers spent all their free time with Sergei. It is visited by many throughout the day. They bring him the food that his family send him from afar, and even let him play with his binoculars. One day, a soldier goes to the commander to ask him to let the boy stay with the battalion. The soldiers have developed a close connection with the boy and think of him as their own. His presence takes the weight of war off their chests. However, the commander is adamant about sending the boy to the orphanage, for his own safety. The next day, the enemies attack, and many soldiers are injured. A vehicle comes to pick up Sergei to take him to the orphanage. The commander breaks the news to the boy and gives him a wooden pistol of honor. The boy in turn hugs him, claiming that he is afraid for the commander's safety. The commander melts into her embrace and changes his mind. He asks Sergei to stay with the soldiers as his son. That night, the soldiers search for soldier clothes for the boy. They are over the moon to have Sergei stay with them. The commander wakes up Sergei and gives him the clothes. He wears them and runs around, looking like a real soldier. The others start calling him their little soldier boy. As the boy runs, the Germans launch an airstrike on the battalion. The soldiers quickly take Sergei to safety and fight the others. The number of wounded soldiers is growing rapidly. Sergei wants to be useful, so he brings water to the thirsty soldiers. One of them asks him to read a letter sent by his family because he has a bandage on his eyes. The boy wants help, but he can't read. He takes the letter and begins to make up the things written on it, claiming that the soldier's cow is safe at home. When the soldier says that he has no cow, the others tell him to follow the story and laugh. He reads everyone else's letters in the same way and encourages them. In the next scene, we see Katya and the commander talking. The two seem to be attracted to each other, but do not confess their feelings. Later, Sergei tells the commander that he is in an orderly position in the battalion and begins by introducing himself as one. However, the boy sees one of the soldiers' stations destroyed by the attack. The commander teaches him to take off his hat to pay homage to the dead soldier. The next day, he insists that the commander give him a mission and he is given the task of distributing the letters among the soldiers. He completes his task efficiently and even makes the soldiers dance for him. The next day, Sergei walks a bit away from the base with his binoculars. While playing with it, he sees someone's leg move from inside a haystack, rushes back to the battalion, and tells the soldiers about his findings. The soldiers are skeptical but go with the boy anyway. When they get near the hayloft, they are alerted to see two German spies hiding below. The spies are arrested and the boy is praised for his intelligence. That night, the commander shows Sergei the legal papers for his adoption. He is now officially the father of the child. Sergei knows about the commander's feelings for Katya, so to repay his kindness, he takes him to confess to her. But the two see her talking to a different man, and mistakenly assume that she is interested in someone else. The base is attacked again by the Germans. This time, Sergei helps the soldiers with all his might, providing ammunition to the soldiers on the front line, but the soldiers ordered him to return to the shed as it is too dangerous outside. When he arrives at the shed, he sees the major, and the others panic as the phone is out of connection with the colonel. A soldier is sent to repair the broken wires. Sergei follows the soldier and sees that he has been mortally wounded. He asks the dying soldier how he can fix the cables, and he does it himself. The connection returns and more troops are called. 6 years save everyone's life. Later, we see the commander and Katya talking. By the river. The commander finally confesses his love for her and asks her to be Sergei's mother. Katya is over the moon, but before she can say anything, a soldier approaches them and gives the commander a letter, saying that they have been sent from the base. The next day, all the soldiers leave for their new base together with Sergei. However, on their way, they come across a minefield that blows up some of their vehicles. The commander is wounded while the group's assistant, with whom Sergei was close, is killed in the explosion. Cry and hug the commander. They take the wounded with them and continue their journey toward their new base. When they finally reach the other base, they meet the commander's leader, the general. He too is impressed by the boy's ambition and congratulates the commander for having such a smart boy. The next day, his division receives a guard banner, and so does the boy. He vows to save his country when the general gives him his lot. One night, his base is brutally attacked and the commander is trapped under the ruins. Sergei cries for his father and tries to save him. He calls out to the other soldiers who finally bring out the commander. The next day, Sergei approaches a wounded commander, his hands hurt while trying to save the commander. The child is now an inseparable part of the team. He has no family by his side and moves wherever they go in the war. The film ends as the regiment is seen moving to another base. A voice in the background narrates that he even participated in the Battle of Stalingrad, and came to Poland with the soldiers. He is currently known as the youngest soldier in the world. Forever, and the legendary story of his bravery is now broadcast for all the world to hear. The end.